part of the Press Play Podcast Network.
Welcome back, everybody, to Podcast 616, the official podcast of Earth 616. I'm your host, Damon Royster, and today, if you can believe it, we are still talking about Batman. Yes, I was like, isn't this a Marvel podcast? We've pivoted, and we've pivoted so much. Today, if you are keeping track, it is our third Batman film, so we are, of course, talking about Batman Forever, a.k.a. A Kiss from a Rose. This is what this movie should have called, A Kiss from a Rose. Fun, insane fact. The second single released from the Batman Forever soundtrack was, of course, Seal's A Kiss from a Rose, a song that was originally written in 1987 and then brought back again in 1994 for the Never Ending Story Part 3 movie. Was not popular. Director Joel Schumacher reached out to Seal and said, "Hey, could I use your song for the Batman Forever soundtrack?" Seal said, "Sure." They reshot a music video that's just Seal standing in front of the Batman signal. And then it's just clips of Batman Forever playing over as he goes, "Baby." You know the song. And it blew up. The reason we all know Kiss from a Rose is because of Batman Forever, which I'll happily say is the only good thing about this movie. The only good thing to come out of it. My thoughts in the actual movie, bad. And like the worst kind of bad, it's boring. Like, coming up, Batman and Robin, that's bad, but it's hilariously bad. This is just really dull. I can't think of one good thing. Producer Michael told me he thought Val Kilmer was a good Bruce Wayne and not a good Batman, which I agree with. I could see that. The only shining thing in this is Chris O'Donnell, who I will objectify later in this episode. I'm sure I will. Two-Face sucks. And I think Two-Face just sucks as a character. I think Tommy Lee Jones is miscast. And the Riddler is great, but here's the problem. You don't cast Jim Carrey in 1995 for a third movie of a franchise. This is the height of the Jim Carrey explosion. Like, he's fresh off The Mask and Ace Ventura and Dumb and Dumber. And it just becomes the Jim Carrey show, which is great. He's lovely. He's very good. He makes great choices, but it's just not the Riddler I was expecting. I don't know if my guests are on the same wavelength as me, but this is more like the Riddler mixed with Egghead. We don't have to go down that road if y'all don't get that, and that's okay. We don't have to do that, but I've been watching Batman since Adam West. That's how I feel. And Nicole Kidman is so horny for, I think, no reason whatsoever. And she's a bad psychologist, and she should have her license removed. Michael, can we file that petition? Can we file that petition to get her license revoked? Thank you so much. Dr. Meridian Chase is not a name. Those are words. Okay. Let's intro our guests. We have a special treat for you guys. It's hard to appreciate the joy of this, as this is a podcast, which is an oral experience. But I have two redhead guests who have told me that it is derogatory to call them gingers. We'll see if I adhere to that. My first guest, you've heard him. He's been on so many times. I've lost track. He did one of the Captain Americas, I'm sure. I forget which one. And then I had you on for X-Men. Yeah, you were on for one of the X-Men's, and I feel like you did a third. This might be your fourth time.
I think I only did those two.
Those two? My mistake. Wonderful guest. Actor, improv pervert, as the police know him as. Host of the podcast Improv is Dead. The Lion Witch in the Wardrobe himself, Tim Lyons.
Oh, Damon, so good to be back for my fourth or fifth time on the pod.
Who can say?
Feels good to be back. And for Batman.
And for Batman. Tim, you like the Batman?
Well, this is great for me because this is the first time I've watched this movie since I was a child, and this was like one of my favorite movies as a kid. There's like pictures of me posing as the Riddler. I've gone as the Riddler a lot for Halloween. Mm-hmm. So I've got thoughts, and we can get into it.
Absolutely. Ooh, a tease. Very good. That's a podcast pro right there. Thank you so much, Tim. My other ginger-haired guest. Well, there I did it. First time on the pod, I was surprised he responded to my email. This is why shoot your shot, everybody. This person, improviser, musician, under the name Color for Color in Chicago, Illinois, in the chillest apartment I've ever seen. Literally next to a guitar. Get out of here. Please welcome to your ears, Ollie Hobson.
Woo-hoo! Thank you for having me. Excited to be here.
Excited to have you. Did you know what this was when you said yes?
No. I mean, well, in your email I read it. I have not heard the podcast, so I did not know specifically, but based on your introduction, I gathered.
Uh, you gathered what it was. Yes.
He's
Yes.
here, and he'll deal with it. He'll deal with it now
Yeah.
that he's here.
Do you just make fun of me for an hour? Is that what this is?
Yeah. Is that okay?
Yep. That's totally cool.
Yeah. If I could describe my loose friendship with Ollie, it's putting up with things is kind of the vibe I've always gotten. Ollie, do you like Batman? We've never talked about it.
I do like Batman. I don't love Batman, but I have watched, I think I've seen just about all the main motion pictures in the last 20, 30 years. And like Tim, I remember seeing this as a kid, and I was obsessed with it briefly. I had not seen it since then until now. And I had the soundtrack and was obsessed with the soundtrack.
So can you confirm is Kiss from a Rose on that soundtrack?
It is on the soundtrack, and I didn't know anything about what the trivia you said, which is fascinating because I thought it was written for this movie. And also watching the movie, I didn't realize that just about every song on the soundtrack that I love is not in the movie.
Right?
Which songs are missing?
Just about, there's like a Method Man song. The U2 song comes in the credits.
Yep.
There's like a Flaming Lips song. There's I mean, Kiss from Rose is not in the movie, right?
No.
No.
Yeah.
I didn't finish the credits, so I don't know if it's like at the very end, but
Yeah.
definitely not in the movie.
It could be, yeah.
And I think there's like two more that are great that are not in there.
The Flaming Lips song, I think I know the one you're talking about. I actually don't think it. Oh, yeah, it is. Bad Days is in the movie.
It is?
It's when you first see like Riddler's lair, and it's like, you
Oh.
hate your boss at your job. Isn't it that one, or is that not?
Is
them?
that sounded so lo-fi because I looked at the soundtrack today and
Yeah,
I was like, who sings that song? But yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe that is.
yeah.
I mean,
Whenever that song plays, it gets stuck in my head. I heard it yesterday, or when I watched the movie, and for the whole day, that song was stuck in my head.
Mm.
Because there's also a part in the song where he talks about shooting your boss's head off, which is very
Yes.
apropos to our society today.
yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Wild. Maybe it was like just not. Maybe Will Smith hadn't taught the world how to do a movie soundtrack quite yet.
Mhm.
No.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Here comes
true.
Batman Forever. Where to begin? Well, I know where I want to begin. Ollie Hobson, first question for
Mhm.
you of the pod. So producer Michael, he does research on all our guests, and he actually found that you made the opening credit sequence to Batman Forever. I believe you used PowerPoint.
Uh-huh.
Could you,
Yes, I do remember this. Yeah.
you talk to us about like what you wanted to invoke when you made this opening credit sequence?
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Well, I was like, okay, this movie is supposed to be state of the art. You know, we're in the 90s, mid 90s. We got to show off what we can do graphic wise.
Mhm.
And I said, what's a good font? And I scoured the fonts at the time. There were only 10 available, but I picked my favorite one. And then I said, can we have this float towards the screen and then surprise, surprise, shoot past the screen? I said, we're gonna start off and just surprise our audience, and they're gonna be
Amazing.
freaking pumped. So
Wow.
that was sort of my thought.
And they were. Could you name what's the name of the font you used?
I think it's called Scrotum.
Scrotum font. Amazing. You know, we get Producer Michael, we get great guests. We really do. So this opening intro, it's always crazy to go back to these 90s and early 2000s superhero movies and to look like, oh, this did seem cool. Did it? Am I wrong? Like you both said you loved this as kids. Was this like
I
did
mean,
this
I think as a child it got me like Joan, because you
Uh-huh.
can't really tell as it's gotten so advanced now that sometimes you're like, I can't even tell if this background is green screen or if they actually shot on location sometimes.
Uh-huh.
But something like this, like when they show they do like kind of like a drone through of a Gotham City that's so like 90s CGI that it's like you look at it now and you're like, oh my god, how did this ever like fly?
Yeah.
And it happened. I was
Seriously.
watching another movie recently, Alien 3, which was directed by, I think,
Fincher.
Fincher. And they took
Really?
the best thing about the Aliens movies was that the aliens were like practical, and they just took out the practical aliens and had them like these really bad, because it was the 90s. So they're like, damn, this technology is incredible. We have to use it. And now you look back on it, and you're like, fuck, that was really bad.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't remember my response. Certainly don't remember my response to the font as a kid, but the
Mhm.
I actually watching this movie now, I didn't remember almost anything that happened in it. I don't know if I blocked
Makes
out. I
sense.
think I was just obsessed with the idea of the movie, and yeah, and Jim Carrey was huge. I loved all his movies at the time, and then again, the music, the soundtrack was so popular, and just listen to that.
And I had forgotten that Robin was introduced in this movie. For some reason, like I had taken him out of this movie, and I was like, oh, he's introduced in Batman and Robin. Because like midway through, they don't introduce him until about like 30 to 45 minutes into this movie. So
Crazy.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's this. He plays Robin in the fourth one too, right? Chris
Yeah.
O'Donnell or whatever his
Yeah.
name is. Yeah.
Chris O'Donnell and the guy who played Alfred are the only people to make it out of Batman Forever, intact and,
Unscathed, yeah.
and return. Yeah, I'll say this. I won't say this for Batman and Robin when I do that episode because there's much more to talk about, but I was surprised how many beats were repeated in Batman and Robin as they were here. Like this opening sequence of like I didn't even realize we get the whole like putting on the suit and like the close up of the butt and everything, which is like the thing we all make fun of from Batman and Robin. That starts here with Val Kilmer.
The nipples are ever present in this movie as well. There are nipples on the suit in this one.
Yeah,
as Dr. Chase Meridian is so horny for.
Should we start there? Should we
So
start
horny.
with,
Yeah, we can start with how horny she is.
I just want to say, Joel Schumacher, our director, was like, people have nipples and everyone needs to know where they are. Tim Lyons, you said something interesting to me in person, and I assume I can talk about it on this podcast.
Please, yeah.
I believe you used the phrase sexual awakening for Dr.
Yeah, I planted the seed so that you would bring this up.
Wow. Color me the fool. What can you talk about the difference between like how you felt then versus now?
I mean, she's still absolutely stunning in this movie. First time she comes out. I mean, she's also a ginger in this movie, so I think I saw myself a little bit on screen.
Okay, he said
representation matters. And yeah, she's just, I mean, she's so, probably as a kid, I didn't even really know what I was seeing or hearing, but she was so overtly horny towards him, like out the jump. Like as soon as she turns and he's there, she's like, her mouth is agape. She like can't form words correct. She's just like, it's repartee immediately, coming from her side. So I think as a child, I was just like, whoa, who is this? This is a beautiful woman, and she's throwing herself at this man.
This
who
Batman.
thought this could, who thought this could be possible? And I had the trading cards, like I had Batman Forever trading cards, and I had a holographic card of her, and so she kind of like moved when you like move the card, and so that was something that I had and I used.
What part moved?
As a child? Her whole body, the whole thing. It just made it look like she was alive on the card. It was like I was holding Chase Meridian, Nicole Kidman in my hand. But yeah, she's just, and especially the scene where she's in the bedroom and she like climbs out of bed, and it's very like, very cinematic, where he like comes to her door. It's later in the movie, so we don't have to talk about it yet. But that scene really, which is basically naked under a sheet. That really got me.
Can I ask what movie she was coming off of to do this movie? Like, what was her?
Question.
Was she peak popularity Nicole Kidman?
That's a great question.
I'm going to look that up, but I'm going to say the thing I was thinking about when watching this in a similar fashion is, Val Kilmer is Batman and she's the love interest. And this is very much, she's married to Tom Cruise at this time. And Tom Cruise and Val Kilmer did Top Gun. So I'm wondering if there's like,
oh yeah, I forgot about
some like residual stuff happening there.
She was coming off of To Die For in 1995.
We love that movie.
We all know To Die For.
I know. I can't remember.
I think her biggest movie before that people would know is probably Days of Thunder.
Days of Thunder, where she met Tommy.
Yeah. and then it's a lot of like kind of like love stories and dramas. Oh, Far and Away. You can cut all this out. Me Google searching Nicole Kidman movies. I'll actually kind
Michael,
of be on
don't you
this
dare.
Google search for a while at this point. I'll be over here just looking at old Nicole Kidman movies.
Well, I mean, do we think that some of those are any of those like movies Australian movies? Because she's an Aussie.
Far and
Does she
Away,
make-
I guess wouldn't that be considered an Australian movie? Isn't that the plot of that
is.
movie? I have no idea.
I've never seen it. I feel like I've never seen her. I mean, for me, Nicole doesn't start until Big Little Lies, but also, well,
That's so.
does that mean? I guess
So a couple of years ago,
I guess The Hours when she won the Oscar.
Yeah.
That's her big thing.
But this is pre
Moulin
this is
Rouge,
pre-Oscar.
perhaps
Oh yeah, Moulin Rouge. And then
2001.
what's the cult one with Tom
Eyes
Cruise?
Wide Shut?
Eyes Wide Shut.
I
I think that's just a few years later.
Another horny piece.
that feels
uh,
like 2000 or 99. Eyes
yeah.
Wide Shut?
2000 or I was at 1999.
99.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, to get back to the original point of, I was surprised how horny she was at
Thank
the
you,
very
thank you.
beginning, because I didn't remember that she uses the bat signal and shows up in her lingerie
Mhm.
and like she's
Actually, wait.
a
Again,
doctor.
going back to Kiss from a Rose, that's how Seal is standing in front of the bat signal with an open shirt. So is he also?
Yeah, he took his cues. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
calling forth the bat.
Oh, this is how you get Batman.
Yeah.
I mean, and I try not to do this on Podcast 616, but I often will, script doctor this movie. If they had if Dr. Chase Meridian, much like Harley Quinn, like turned into a supervillain or something, or like there was something like her obsession with Batman turned into something darker, that would have been cool. But she's just a bad doctor. Or she's like a profiler, like a criminal profiler. Like she knows, basically she's trained in like pointing out who's crazy, but like
Yeah.
she just points out Two-Face and the Riddler. And like, do you really need a professional to tell you that there's something wrong
Yeah.
with those two?
They keep using the word wacko as like a joke.
Yeah,
They're like,
she's
this guy's a wacko. He's like, is that a medical term?
I think for her it is.
For her, it is. She makes some comments where it kind of sounded like maybe she was going to go in the direction of Harley Quinn,
Mhm.
almost.
Mhm.
I can't remember what she says, but I was like, oh, that's kind of like a little foreshadowing that maybe they had plans to do something with her, and maybe it just wasn't going to happen.
Mhm.
Because she was a little bit like, just in the way she talked, and it was just like she didn't care about anything.
Well,
She didn't care about. She was horny, and she didn't care who knew it.
have you
Yeah.
guys read the comics? I mean, is she a prevalent character in that, or just a throwaway character that sort of comes in and out?
I think she's just a throwaway character for this movie.
Is she even in the
Um,
comics?
No, there's no way.
Huh.
There's no way. Wait, let me look it up.
That's a bold statement for if you haven't read the comics.
And and I was right. I was right to do it. Thank you, Wikipedia. Invented for the movie, much like Vicky Vale and whatever generic
Oh,
woman he's
yeah.
dating in Batman and Robin.
Oh wow.
These movies are like, we just got to get him a woman to be with.
Yeah.
I want to pivot to our other characters. We'll do Batman last. Two-Face and the Riddler. Let's start with Two-Face. I feel like a big flop, a flop all around. He looks like if man merged with gum, and
Yeah, that's a good way to describe it.
just
Yes.
like chewed gum underneath a bleacher or a desk.
Uh-huh.
Just very dry and cakey. I believe Two-Face should be a gangster, and he should be laundering money or bootlegging something, but he's just obsessed with finding out who Batman is and killing Batman, which
Yeah.
sure. But I don't know. It just felt like they
And
were
he had many chances. Let's just
So
say
many.
that.
to
Yeah.
kill him.
So many to kill him.
So many
and just
chances.
decided not to.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I mean, am I wrong? Is anyone's favorite villain in this movie Two-Face?
I thought that I appreciated the performance, the attempt by actually all the acting, and it was all sort of bad, but I felt like it was bad because the script and was bad. The story
Mhm.
and the script were bad, but I could tell they were following the direction really well.
Mhm.
And but Tommy Lee, he goes for it, and
Tommy
is
Lee.
I
very
was surprised that
cartoony.
nobody phoned it in. That was
Mhm.
the thing that like in watching it, I was like, it's not bad because the acting is bad. It's
Mhm.
bad because what they're saying, what's coming out of their mouths is insane, but they're
Yeah.
giving it their all. Like,
Wait,
especially somebody like Tommy Lee Jones, who's like known for being kind of like a stick in the mud.
He's like
really,
dancing. He's dancing
having a
around.
good time. Yeah, apparently, like there's stories of him and him really not liking Jim Carrey during the filming of this movie.
Really?
But I'm like, he's like, he's doing he's doing his best Jim Carrey impression when they're like together hanging out in this movie.
Yeah. I want to just say a quote of Two-Face that I really liked. When he first thought he killed Batman, he says, "Farewell forever to that pointy-eared night rat." And I don't know, it just seems so funny to me for an adult to say farewell forever.
Yeah, is that where Batman Forever comes from that line?
Ollie, it
Whoa.
must. That's the only time they say forever.
Well, they give him so many one-liners that are just not very clever. They start the movie off with the one-liner where he says, Albert says, like, do you want me to give you some food? And he says, I'll get drive-through. Batman says that.
Oh,
and I was like, oh, and then it's like, that's a precursor to what we see.
I agree. Real quick, did you say Albert?
Am I wrong? Not Albert?
Alfred.
Alfred.
Wow.
Sorry.
Man, to the real
Albert's
to
the butler.
To the
I'm gonna get skewered.
To the diehard bat heads who are listening, I'm so sorry. I brought on
No,
somebody.
Albert is his other butler. Yeah, he's there's a downstairs butler and an upstairs butler, and Albert he's basically a little Two-Face of his own.
My sincere apologies. I was watching it with my girlfriend Lauren, and we kept calling him Al, so then I just sort of added Bert on there. So my apologies.
No problem. Michael, make note of that, please. Before we take a break, we got to talk about the man, the myth, the legend, not Batman, the Riddler. Tim Lyons, you actually came dressed today in a full glittery question mark onesie.
Yes.
Can you talk to us about why you chose that outfit and your feelings about the Riddler?
Yeah, I mean, I think Riddler, the entire movie, is trying to figure out exactly his fashion sense. It does change throughout the movie. And then finally, when he is at his smartest, when he sucked all the brains and all the thoughts out of everybody's heads, that's when he's like, okay, now I can really bust out this shimmery, shiny, beautiful bodysuit. And it looks the best sitting on my throne, sitting on my brain throne. I've been wearing outfits like this my entire life. I've been the Riddler for Halloween multiple times in multiple suits in multiple ways. So yeah, this is the one I think that is the most beautiful. That fits my form the best too.
I was gonna say, look snatched for the gods. Is this a thing with red-haired people? Ollie, have you ever dressed as a Riddler for a costume?
No, but I have. No, but I think it's maybe Tim's always been more confident in his red hair. I think I was afraid of it early on as a kid. Tried not to draw attention to it.
Yeah, I think for me, once they made the Riddler a redhead, I was like, well, this is a freebie for a Halloween costume. Like I already have. I never have to like spray my hair or anything like that. It just looks. I just look the part immediately up top.
That's smart.
Do we get anything from this Riddler plan? Like this, like his plan is to. I just don't feel like this is pure Riddler. I just wanted. I mean, we'll talk about this in a future episode, but what's his name? The new Batman.
Paul Dano.
Yeah, Paul Dano's Riddler is much more what I was expecting, even though that's like a dark, gritty, whatever. But I want the riddles. I want the mystery.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like there's a happy in between Dano and Jim Carrey's Riddler. I think Jim Carrey's is a little probably over the top. It's almost a little jokery, or it can be sometimes in a goofier way. But Paul Dano's is even more like it's almost too serial killery. And creepy and weird with like the tape, the duct tape and everything like that. So I feel like it went too far the other direction. Riddler went too cartoony, or Carrey went too cartoony. There's probably like a middle ground where it's a little bit of both. There's a little bit more humor to the riddles or to the character, but it's not like swinging a freaking cane around and just laughing super loud and being goofy Jim Carrey.
What do we think about these riddles? They're not particularly good, are they?
I figured them out instantly.
Yeah,
yeah, I know the clock one.
And so did they.
Truly. And I hated the there was like numbers in each one, and it's like, 1 and 8 is 18. Like, how do you? That's not. I don't think that's.
It was also spelling out his name, Mr. E, Edward Nygma, as though like they were trying to figure out who the Riddler was. I'm like, he looks exactly like him. You also met him at a party as Bruce Wayne.
And also, it's like, so what if it is him? Like, okay,
yeah.
Like, it's not like he's Bruce Wayne. Like, he's not this powerful man. I like what Tin was saying. about finding that middle ground between serial killer and jokiness. And, here at Podcast 616, we also like to find the middle ground, and we call that the break. So we're gonna take a break, our middle ground
Boom.
here. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah, kind of nailing the transitions on the show. We're gonna take a break, and when we come back, we'll talk about the titular Batman and the love of my life, Robin, Dick Grayson. What a surprise! A podcast with Damon. We're gonna talk about Dick. Nothing new here. So keep it right here to Podcast 616, and we'll be right back.
Hey everyone, this is Don Mike Mendoza, the host of Producing While Asian. Join us in Season 2 for more conversations with actors, artists, producers, and more from Broadway, Hollywood, and beyond, every other Wednesday on the Press Play Podcast Network.
And we're back. Sorry, it's my voice.
That was your Batman?
Not good.
Oh, brother.
Ollie Hobson, your girlfriend Lauren, who I also know. When you guys are like trying to like have a nice date night, how many times have you taken each other to the circus? To the primetime circus show?
Ooh, if I had to really be honest about it,
Mm-hmm.
zero. Zero
Makes
times.
sense. Am I crazy? Was this like a special Gotham event, the night circus? Because he's just like, come with me to the circus, Dr. Chase. And I fell out laughing. You're gonna take this woman to the circus?
I think circuses were more relevant in the 90s. It was maybe something. I mean, it was definitely more of. It seemed like it was kind of an adult circus. I didn't really see a lot of kids there.
Yeah. And
Or
the
animals.
The press was there.
The press was there,
And all of the elite.
Yeah, all of the elite. It was an elite circus. But I do think circuses were a bit of like, if I were writing the movie at that time, I may have been like, yeah, I guess they go to like a more like an adult themed circus
Yeah.
of some kind.
Maybe, I mean, did Cirque du Soleil not exist in
I don't think
95?
I don't think Cirque was that
No.
there yet.
It must have. No, you don't think so?
I bet the person who created Cirque saw this movie and was like, now I have something.
There
Okay.
needs to be something like this for adults.
Yeah.
Okay, so Bruce and Dr. Chase go to the circus like two lovers in love do. And then we see the Graysons.
Sounded good to me.
Thank you.
Yeah,
The Flying Graysons.
Flying Graysons.
This is such a rushed intro for Robin. Did y'all like Robin? Like the character in general? Either, and not just in this movie, but like overall, the sidekick of the Batman and Robin of it all.
I mean, I feel like for at least for Batman to have somebody to kind of like bounce ideas off of. I like Robin for that. So it's not just like a man brooding. I think it's good to like have him have a sidekick, have somebody to mentor, so you can kind of break down some of the deep-seated psychology that's happening inside of his head.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know if I could speak to Robin as a character like across the spectrum of Batman, but in this, I didn't really care for their like banter was like too quickly aggressively like playful, or like
Yeah.
Robin was like such a you're not my father type of thing pretty early.
Yeah.
And
How
then,
old is this man?
I mean, he looks like
think
he's
supposed to be like,
mid-20s.
yeah, I think he's supposed to be like 17.
No,
He's
really?
well, because he has to go stay with somebody.
And he gets adopted by a billionaire.
Yeah, he got adopted. They're acting like he's like 16 or 17. He looks like he's 22. He rolls up on his motorcycle, so we know he's at least 17. I think he's supposed to be 17.
So
That makes
okay.
more sense.
So producer Michael did some research about Gotham City, and apparently in the town bylaws, if your entire family perishes due to supervillains, you go to the wealthiest man in town, and you can just kind of, he will raise you.
Yeah.
That's the community bylaws.
You go to his house, you fix his hogs, you get clean clothes and a nice meal and a place to sleep.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say this. This whole thing felt like the start of a gay porn to me, honestly. Like, oh, thank you for letting me into your mansion.
Yeah.
What? You have a cave I'm not supposed to go into? I've got to see it.
He reverse
Just me?
psychologied him real bad. He's like, I want to come show you something, and he shows him the motorcycle. He's like, all right, well,
Yeah.
Alfred will make you some food, or Alfred, just throw that food away. He's clearly not going to eat it. And then all of a sudden, he's like, within seconds, he's like, hey, wait, Al, I'll eat that food, and I'll
Well,
stick
then
around and
Al
fix this
Al
motorcycle."
Al also tag teams that because Al's like, I guess I'll give this to the dogs.
Yeah.
They tag reverse psychologist.
And it worked.
Mhm.
So Tim Lyons,
Yes.
producer Michael, like I said, does research on all my guests, and you actually came up with the laundry fight choreography that Dick used in the film. Is this how you dry your clothes, or did you come up with that just on the
Yeah, well,
spot when you met Chris?
I'm actually in Hollywood. They know me as the shadow boxer, and so I do a lot of one-man fight scenes. And so when they said, "Well, we want to do something with the laundry, but he's got to kind of kick the laundry's ass," I said, "No problem." I said, "You called the right guy." So I had him. I mean, we spent. This was what most of the budget was on this because we had to keep soaking the clothes. We had to keep running the washing machine because Chris kept messing it up. He kept getting his ass kicked by this wet clothes because they're heavy. You know, you got to build your muscles with just
Absolutely.
lifting those clothes. So yeah, we had him spin him around. We had him. The ringing out thing was the hardest thing that we did. He ringed it out with his foot, and he was able to. And then I let him improvise with the socks. I said, you know what? We did the shirts, we did the jeans, you do whatever you want with the socks. And that's why the part with the socks looks so fucking stupid. Because he just throws them around kind of like a couple of nunchucks, and then flips them behind. And I said, you know what? Just let him have it.
And it was his idea about the mop, right?
Yeah, and then he grabbed the mop, and I was like, whoa, I didn't even think about that. And so that's when I knew that my job was done.
Incredible. You did incredible work. I was barely watching this movie. Was there something set up that the dryer didn't work?
No.
Okay.
No, he was showing off for Alfred. He was trying to say, check this out. This is how I normally do this.
Yeah.
And also the thing to get through the door when he did all the trapeze stuff on the chandelier, just run down the stairs.
It could have made it at the same time. Truly, it could have made it in the same time. There's no way that jumping across, it just the time it took for him to jump to the thing, jump around that thing. I'm like, the door would have closed. It would have closed for sure.
Yeah, because I understand. Unfortunately, I understand that the mentality is like we need to show that this kid could be a superhero. But I think watching him do a whole high wire trapeze act, I got it. I know he could be a superhero. I don't need the laundry. I don't need to see him parkour through the Wayne Manor and just constantly tumble. I thought gravity would have stopped him, but he fell through the trapdoor and then rolled down the stone stairs.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if I would have seen that.
Isn't there something in the comics too where he uses like a staff of some kind, or is that Nightwing, or is that Robin? Robin used the staff, right?
Yes, but I think that's later because Robin. Thank you, Tim. Robin becomes Nightwing, but I think towards his later years as Robin, he adapts the staff, and then that will transition him into Nightwing status. I could be making that up.
I mean, they could have added the staff there and just been like he whips a staff and it's like, okay, this guy's good with a staff. We already know that he knows the trapeze. He watched him do the death drop at the NIGHT CIRCUS. So I don't know. If I was rewriting the movie today, that's what I would do.
And also, he saved everyone in the circus from exploding, and no one really thanks him too much.
None.
No.
None. Well, he's got the grief and the adoption.
Albert, I think, calls him a hero. He's like, I don't
Does
really
Albert?
feel like a hero. Yeah, Albert
not a hero.
calls him a hero. He's like, I'm not a hero. You are best, Dick Grayson.
Yeah,
Master Grayson.
Master Dick.
Yeah,
Master
Dick.
Well, Damon, did you see this when it came out as a kid?
I did. Yeah.
And did you have a similar response to that Tim had to Nicole Kidman?
Thank you so much. No one ever asked me questions on this. Thank you so much. It's a great question. I did. I mean, I probably didn't realize it then, but now I'm like, why am I rewatching this? I will say I felt it more in Batman and Robin because I also had a thing for George Clooney, if you can believe. And that pairing, I was like, this is the love story of the ages. But here, I definitely something about that earring, that very big, chunky single earring, which to me now That's gay. I can say it on this podcast. I can say it. I'm the authority on that. Here, that's gay. Uh, but yeah, I definitely was like, I think when I was a kid, it was more like, oh man, I would want to be his friend. He's so cool. He saves women from neon clown gangs in the dark side of Gotham, which I want to say that scene, which again, there's a similar neon gang scene in Batman and Robin. To me, that reads as like conservative America's idea of what rave culture is like and like
Yes.
people on ecstasy. I
Yep.
feel like that's what they think.
Yes. And they're
Those,
all
like,
violent.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
And they have staffs. Back to the staffs.
And
Ruining our
O'Donnell
city.
is a classic American hero. Comes
And
in
if
and
you-
just beats up an entire gang on his own.
And every woman you meet and save is immediately horny for whoever.
As two straight men, do you find that to be true? That like when you do something good for a woman, they just immediately put their lips on
100%.
yours?
100%.
I've never made a woman horny. I wouldn't know.
Woo! Speaking of horny, let's address this Chase Meridian scene, and hopefully that will lead us into finally talking about Batman, which honestly, I don't think there's a need, but it is his movie. So Tim Lyons, never made a woman horny. Have you ever had a woman tell you to meet them at midnight? They're like, meet me at midnight, my house. And then you go and they're just naked in bed. Does that happen to you?
Then they tell you
yeah.
to leave.
Yeah, at the leaving part, yes. The first part, not so much. No, but it's I mean, it is. I mean, what a fantasy. Though, I mean, honestly, the scene plays like a dream sequence. The way that it's filmed, I'm like, is this real? And even the way he shows up and just stands at the glass door, that shot of him just standing at the glass door, I'm like, just open the door. You open the door. You open it. Why are we standing here?
It's a miss on all parties' parts because like she's like, come to my place, and then he does. She's asleep, like rude. And then she finally wakes her ass up, sees him, and she's like, actually, I'm in love with someone else. You wouldn't understand. It's Bruce Wayne. And he's like, he, and does a little goofy fuckboy smile and then leaves. Why didn't he just tell her then? Why didn't he just go, actually, it's me?
Yeah.
Can I ask a question? So we see her in her bedroom there, and then early in the movie, he kicks down her what I assumed to be her office door.
Mm-hmm.
But is
Yeah.
that the door? That's a different building.
I think so. I think the door he
believe
kicks
so, yeah.
because isn't that the police station? Because he like is like, is
that's-
Dr. Chase here?
She's
Oh,
working
yeah.
out in the police station.
Yeah, also that guy at the
Yes.
desk like points to where and then they pull back to see this massive lobby, and he just like gives a kind of like a point like this way. He's like, where's he going? He didn't know where to go. That's a place that has a directory that you need to know exactly what floor it's on. Am I taking an elevator? I mean, that was a massive building.
I think everybody knows where the Criminal Minds office is.
Mhm.
The serial killer profiler.
Yeah.
We know where they work out of.
I also wonder where that was shot, because when that scene starts, he pulls up in like his Rolls Royce, I think, or whatever, like convertible type car. They show it parked, but it looks like it's in a European city.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't look CG. Like they actually went to a place, got that shot, went inside. I don't know what building that is. It looks like a post office of some kind.
Oh,
it's-
also, there's the Statue of Liberties in this movie.
Yes, where and it says
Mhm.
Gotham on the.
Yeah. Is the Statue of Liberty exist in Gotham in anything else?
This is great. Thank you for bringing this up. Like DC, what I do enjoy about DC is that they have fictional cities like Metropolis, Central City, Gotham, National City. Like they're not real, but they're always like they're supposed to be fill-ins for real cities. I've always felt, and maybe it's because I'm sure we were all in Chicago in 2008, I believe.
Yeah.
So I've always assumed Gotham is Chicago, but there are some people who think, and like Gotham is Chicago and Metropolis is New York, but there are some people who equate Gotham with New York, and I think that's wrong. I think that's inappropriate. I think that's weird.
Well, they certainly tried to pitch that in this movie.
Yeah.
By showing
yeah.
Statue of
Big
Liberty.
time. Let's talk about Batman. We've been talking for about an hour, or maybe 45 minutes. Who can tell what time it is? Val Kilmer is Batman. One-time Batman has not been back. George Clooney has been back. Fun fact. If anyone saw the new Flash movie, which
Oh.
makes sense. if
No,
you
I
didn't.
didn't realize that he was.
He had a little cameo. There's like because the Flash like resets time and he finally gets it back in order. He's like, everything's back to normal. Hey, Batman's here, and it turns out it's George.
And
Clooney
they
as
decided
Batman.
to go with Clooney instead of Keaton?
Well, they already so they had Keaton.
Oh, they did
That was
Keaton. Okay.
Keaton was for the majority of the movie when like the timeline was out of sync and it
Got
was
it.
Michael Keaton. And then when he thought he had fixed everything, the cliffhanger at the end is that George Clooney is now Batman.
Yeah.
Which real quick, which came first? The multiverse Spider-Man doing that or them doing that?
I think you know the answer. I think you know who did it first
Okay.
and who
Also,
copied who.
I think it's tougher to bring Val Kilmer back because he's kind of going through it.
Yeah.
That's right. Shit.
So I feel like that's probably why they went with a Clooney instead.
Yeah, thank you, Tim. I forgot about that. So I won't be as harsh.
I don't think they approached Kilmer and he was like, "No, I'm not gonna fucking do it." I think he was like, "I'm fine."
Well, I mean, did he work for you? Did you like this? Like, it's the most blonde Bruce Wayne I've ever seen.
I thought he was good. Sorry, Tim. I thought he was good. As you said, when you said he's a good Bruce Wayne, not a good Batman, I guess that does make sense. And because he doesn't change much as Batman. He's not doing a affectation, and he's not like changing his personality too much. He's just talking a little bit quieter. So overall, I thought it was fine, but just because the movie fell so flat, I think it's just like it didn't bother me.
Yeah.
It didn't really feel necessarily like a Batman movie. Like he was the star of the movie, just because Carrie's so over the top, Two-Face is so wacky. Like their layers and their sequences are so like nuts that I almost forgot that I was watching a Batman movie, but he just didn't feel like the central theme of the movie this time around.
Yeah.
But I liked I liked him as Bruce Wayne. I feel like the only person to ever really go ham on the Batman voice too is Christian Bale, like who really really went guttural with it. Everyone else is just kind of like a lower voice or a quieter voice. Even Keaton is still kind of sounds like Keaton. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know if there was like permission to really change the voice at that time when they were making these movies.
Yeah, he had to play the straight man to all the wackos.
Yeah.
There's also that. Yeah, there's not really room for anyone to do like big choices of Batman when you got the Riddler and Two-Face, who are already larger than life characters, and then you cast Tommy Lee Jones and Jim Carrey. So I hear. This is the last round for thoughts, comments. Has there anything not been said that you're like, I really want to say this? Speak your piece now.
I just want to give a shout out to Ed Begley Jr., who because I've come to know his name more in the last like decade. I appreciate him a lot, and I forgot that he was in this movie, and it was cool to see him get a paycheck and die.
Yeah. I just saw a movie last night, and he was in it. Strange Darling.
Oh yeah,
it's great film.
Great things.
New movie, old movie,
new movie came out this year. Pretty violent, but very good.
I would like to give a shout out. I would like to give a shout out to all the performances that did what they could with the material that they had.
Oh, yeah, Drew Barrymore didn't give.
Yeah, Drew Barrymore in there.
Yeah.
Sugar and Spice. Yeah, another awakening for me in this movie too. Sugar and Spice. I was like, whoa, maybe I'm into all kinds of stuff. So that was that. But also shout out to them trying to harken back to the old Adam West Batmans with Holy whatever Batman,
Holy Rusted Metal
Island, Holy Rusted Metal Batman.
Metal,
The island, it's all holy, and then Batman's just like, oh, I don't give a shit. we don't do that here. We don't do that kind of nonsense here.
We're not doing catchphrases.
Yeah.
Very nice. I will give a shout out to some good Joker stuff. I'll start from the end, like when he's like, I know who Batman is. It's me. And he, I think he requested extra long sleeves for his cell uniform so he could turn it into bat wings.
Oh yeah, big time.
And I mean, you got to give for the question, like, who is Batman? I mean, I do remember saying that a lot. And I think good branding, honestly, when he turns the question mark with the bat signal.
That was cool. I remember thinking that was cool then. I thought it was cool now.
It did look cool, yeah.
The only thing that's not cool, the whole thing, the box, his big device that like sucks your brain out. Like, what did people?
The blender.
Yeah.
The 1990s blender.
Yeah. The whole story behind that was kind of insane. Like they were like, well, we don't want to deal with just doing riddles. Let's make it this insane thing where he's sucking people's brainwaves.
Yeah.
And then at the end, it morphs his whole face and he becomes a mutant. But then when we see him 2 months later, his face is probably totally fine.
Yeah. Well, he's in shadow, but I think it is fine.
Yeah.
I think at that point they're like, don't think about it.
Don't worry
Yeah, they're not-
about it.
Don't worry about it.
You're Batman, dude.
And also one last thing I'll say, I love that when we look into Bruce Wayne's brain, he just thinks about one bat. He's always thinking about bats.
It's a singular bat. Yeah.
Singular bat. Singular bat, but on this podcast, we like to play a singular game called Fuck, Marry, Kill. It's our favorite game. We play it every week. We pick characters that we will fuck, marry, and or kill. I'm actually throwing a curveball to my guests. I have decided, I told them what the 3 would be, and I'm changing it now. And I hope they'll forgive me. But if not, oh well. This is the end of our friendship. On the docket today, we've got the Riddler, Two-Face, and Dr. Chase Meridian. I am throwing Dr. Chase Meridian. I was going to do Batman, but I was like, no, we barely talked about him. I will go first to give my guests time to think, especially with this new curveball thrown in. I will kill the Riddler. A bit much. As we say down under, a bit much. I'm not going to go into details, but I have hooked up with someone who likes to do bits during the act of sex. It's not fun. It's not fun.
Details.
We don't, it did happen. It happened in Chicago. I'll say that. And it just was like,
so we know exactly who it is. It's by the bit. If you say the bit, I'll be like, oh yeah.
yeah.
I won't I won't say the bit, but it was just like, it was just very cartoony. And it just, from that experience, I feel like that's what hooking up, like having sex with the Riddler would be. So I can't do that. And I can't imagine marrying this person. So I got to kill the Riddler. Sorry to my gingerhead guests, not a reflection of you. Reflection of the height of Jim Carrey and his empire. We were living in Jim Carrey's America in 1995. For my fuck, I will be fucking Two-Face. I will roll him onto the side. Just put the bad side into the pillow. And that's how we'll get that done. I think I know the mechanics and how that will work. And I will marry Dr. Chase Meridian. I will be married to her, but I will work to undermine her career. Again, Michael, let's get that petition filed with the courts of Gotham. And I will marry her and I'll take care of her when her inevitable practice comes crashing down. Let's go to Tim Lyons next. Our most veteran of guests. Please let us know. What do you think?
Well, I'll take a page from Tommy Lee Jones and I'll say I can't sanction your buffoonery. Is what he said about Jim Carrey while making this movie, and I will kill the Riddler as well. I think he's just we're all Virgos here for the most part, say for Michael Zolio, but I think that somebody who's just that annoying, I just wouldn't be able to. I wouldn't be able to have sex with, and I wouldn't be able to marry for sure. So that your Chase really threw a wrench in this because clearly she's not of sound mind either. She goes back and forth between being super horny for a man in a suit and then she's in love with Bruce Wayne, so that there's that thing. So she's a bit of a Two-Face herself in a way.
Interesting.
But I can't necessarily. I wouldn't want to marry Two-Face either because it would take so long to figure out what we're going to eat for dinner. You gotta flip a coin every time. It's like, is it Wendy's or McDonald's? Well, I'll flip my coin and then we go kill everybody at McDonald's, but then we go get Wendy's. I'm like, Jesus, I don't have time for that. So I think I will also have to fuck Two-Face just to kind of get it out of the way.
Yeah.
Just to see what it's like, It'd be interesting and you get to do it twice, and you get to see what kind of lover he is on both sides of the coin. And then yes, I will have to. I mean, me personally, who was in love with her my entire life, Chase Meridian, I would have to marry her and just make sweet love all the time, and just be a couple of wackos, right?
Truly.
Yeah.
Real quick, we didn't talk too much about the Two-Face set decor. A question I want to just put out there. No one has to answer it, but if he always flips a coin to make decisions, why is everything split in half?
Mm-hmm.
That's the question that I have. Why can't he decide on a table or paint for his house if he always flips a coin?
Maybe my assumption is he had Sugar and Spice be the decorators of his place to give him the choice, so he can flip whatever mood he's in.
I see. Okay,
I'll go with that.
They're constantly working.
Yeah, that's right.
Ollie Hobson, First fuck, marry, kill.
Yeah,
please.
this is boring because I have the exact same three, but and it actually was going to be the same with Batman as well. I would have still gone this route, but yeah, Jim Carrey is just obnoxious and like, will he ever shut up? You want to kill him. Tommy Lee, just he looks like he's got a kinky side, so you got to go fuck there. And then Chase, yeah, Tim, you're right. She does have two personalities in this movie. So hopefully the one you marry is the sort of nicer.
It's less
That's
extreme.
more stable.
Yeah, she's less extreme than the actual Two-Face himself.
Yes. Yeah, boring, but the same.
Oh, when three Virgos agree, it's never boring. This is the best day. Excellent. Hell yes. I love it. I love it. Batman Forever. I will never watch it again. I can just put that in the vault. Thank you. And I'm excited for Batman and Robin, so I can spend more time with Chris O'Donnell, who is endgame for me. I'll say it. That's the podcast. Thank you both so much for being here. I'll start. Ollie Hobson, do you have any social media things you want to promote? Or plug?
Sure. Yeah. You could follow me at Color for Colors Music on Instagram, or check it out on Spotify, Color for Colors. And that's pretty much it.
Nice. You still are the late 90s still doing shows?
Yeah, late 90s improv team. We're still doing shows every Sunday at 8 at Logan Square Improv.
It's in Chicago.
So check that out in Chicago.
Nice. Thank you very much, Tim Lyons. How about you?
Yeah, you can follow me personally at Lionheart on Instagram, or at Tim Lyons on Twitter or X. You can also follow my podcast, Improv is Dead, at Improv is Dead. You can listen to it on all podcast platforms. Also, we're doing one live in Chicago, Thursday, October 3rd at 7:30 at I.O. We're doing a live, it's not a recording, we're just doing just some classic improv perverted behavior on stage. And then we're doing another one at LSI as well that same night at 10 o'clock. So we're running over from that show to do another one. So double shows in Chicago, October 3rd. Check it out. Tickets are on sale for both of those, I do believe, right now.
Oh, nice. Oh, God. The double show life. I remember that.
Oh, yeah. I can't wait.
We don't do that in LA.
I'm be sleepy.
Yeah. Well, you'll have that like 2-hour advantage because you'll be on LA time mentally.
That is true, yeah.
So
yep.
You can do it.
Well, I'm driving back though, so it won't be. I slowly lose hours as I go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bold.
Yeah.
Wonderful. This is Podcast 616. You can follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Podcast 616P3. That P3 stands for Press Play Podcast, the podcasting network that lets their Marvel podcast talk about Batman. I can get away with murder. You can also follow me, Damon, on Instagram at Black Chandler. Black is spelled BLK as in black, and Chandler as in Chandler Bing. Producer Michael, if you want to hop on the mic real quick, what letter grade would you give this podcast that we just did?
I fucking hated this movie, but I love the review. Solid A.
Yes, solid A. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Tim. Thank you, Ollie. Thank you, the month of September, for birthing these wonderful people, including me. Praise be. We'll be back next week to talk about Batman and Robin. But until that time, please remember that with great power comes even greater responsibility.